Raymond Muratalla versus Jeremiah Nakathila. This is on the undercard of Devin Haney and Lomachenko. This is shaping up to be a pretty great card, man. I think it's going to be a great weekend of boxing, and this is another interesting matchup. This is going to be a very good fight. Let's get into it. Let's start with Muratalla. 17 wins, no losses, 14 wins by way of knock. I was talking to my guy TJ about this, and we shared very similar viewpoints on how we see this one going. I like the way Muratalla and his team has been moving with his career so far. He's not at the build-up stage anymore, right? He's moved up into the contender stage where his level of competition over the recent years has picked up. He fought 3 times last year, and his opponents had a combined record of 44 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. So the level of competition is on the up. He already fought once this year already, which we'll get into shortly, but I like the fact that he's active as well. Activity breeds consistency. Activity breeds momentum and confidence, something he has a lot of. Muratalla offensively, man, he does a lot of good things, right? His shot placement is solid. His variety of shots is solid. And how he attacks every part of the body and doesn't neglect it, right? He's not one-dimensional in that way. He tries to break down his opponents with different flurries of shots. He has 14 knockouts, but it's his consistency in his work rate that opens up the right shots for him to finish off his opponents, and I really like that about him. When he fought Jeremy Hill, he overwhelmed him with a lot of shots, but mainly body shots and consistent shots. And even though all of the shots didn't land cleanly, I mean, they still added up, right? Even if you don't land cleanly, the ricochet off of each punch, man, is still affecting your body, and it's still hitting you psychologically, right? And over time, I mean, he just weakened Jeremy Hill and eventually got him out of there pretty quickly. That wasn't a long fight, right? He got him out of there, I think, with under 3 rounds. And he also had like a streak of knockouts too. I think it was like 9 or 10 straight wins. Muratalla was knocking out his opponents and winning it by knockout until he fought Valtierra, a guy who was tough, durable. And even though Muratalla got the knockdown, it was a fight that went the distance, but he needed the work. I know we always want to see everybody get knocked out, man, but sometimes as you're going up, man, the level of competition is going to be tougher and the guys are going to be a lot more durable. In that fight, man, his combinations was on point, but a fight where I would have liked to see him go to the body a bit more. I think he could have stopped him, no doubt, but I'm glad it went the distance. In a fight where you kind of saw a little bit of everything of Muratalla, the hand speed, the jabs, the combination. It was a solid fight, not a great fight, but a dominant performance nonetheless. And I think he even said after his interview, he said, man, you know, I didn't really like that performance too well. It wasn't my best. As an athlete, right? Even human beings in general, we are always our toughest critic. So for him to say, you know what, man, I fought better, like personally, that wasn't my best fight. That goes to show the level of maturity in how he is approaching the fight. There are people who are just delusional and think every performance is a great performance. But when you have someone who can be open and can be real and can be honest about their performance, it goes to show how they attack the sport and how they continue to improve and where they need to continue to improve on. Now, going back to his most recent fight against Humberto Galando, a fight that I actually enjoyed, man. A fight that showed us how Muratalla was going to handle adversity. In the first round of the fight, he got dropped with 36 seconds left to go in that first round. Now, even though he got dropped, the shot didn't look like it hurt him. It looked like it was a shock. He made a mistake and he paid for it. At this level, you can't go backwards on the ropes and you have your hands down and expect to get out of it without getting touched. It's usually not going to happen, man. Galando was a guy who throws looping shots from all angles, man, and the shots connected. And Muratalla was backing up, and one of those looping shots connected and hit the right spot at the right time, and he fell to the canvas. Here's the interesting part. This is what we want to see. This is how a person's character is formed. So now we get to see how he is facing this adversity in the first round. We see fighters all the time get dropped and don't recover, and they kind of fold. And sometimes you need a little something, man, a hard shot, a hard jab, something to wake you up. And I felt like this was the shot that woke Muratalla up. He started dialing in and locking in and going to the body. And he dropped him in the fourth and dropped him again and took him out in the ninth. He went back to the variation of his attacks. He wasn't throwing single shots. He was throwing 3 or 4 at a time, and he closed out the show. So he has that type of mindset where, look, as long as I am in the fight, as long as the ref doesn't wave it off, as long as I have a chance to win, you better believe that I'm going to do what I need to do to get the job done. But he cannot get lackadaisical against Nakathila, right? He has to be weary of Nakathila's right hand because Nakathila can crack. That power is real. And if he gets caught with too many of those shots, he might be out cold. But let's talk about his opponent, Jeremiah Nakathila. 23 wins, 2 losses, 19 wins by way of knockout. This is his first fight in over a year. And even though he had a dominant win in his last fight against Miguel Berchelt, he's still getting a little older. And you're just not sure with the time off how your body is going to react and how long it's going to take your body to wake up. There's no secret what Nakathila is trying to do in his fights. He's trying to set up that right hand. In most of his punches, man, he is trying to take your head off. His jab is stiff and strong, and his right hand comes from all angles. It's looping, it's straight down the middle, it's coming over the top. You got to be weary of it whenever he throws that hand. He's usually fighting at 130 pounds, but the 5 extra pounds, he's got more oomph behind his shots, and it showed in his last fight, which we'll get into very shortly here. If you can't take away Nakathila's strength, it's going to be a long night for you. You won't be able to completely neutralize an opponent, but if you can limit that strength, you'll have him right where you want him to be. He's not a guy that likes to make too many adjustments. His footwork isn't the greatest, and when he misses the power shots, he misses wide. When he fought Shakur Stevenson in the second round, I believe it was, Nakathila swung with that left hand with so much force and so much power behind it, and Shakur just stepped back, stepped aside, and evaded it, and Nakathila swung so hard that he lost his balance and he fell on the ground. That was just off the sheer momentum. And that was a fight where the pace was not favoring Nakathila. Right? Shakur slowed everything down and fought smartly. Didn't engage too much, stayed out of the range, and used his quickness and his IQ in the ring to his advantage. I think Nakathila was very frustrated in that fight, man, and he wasn't sure how to figure out Shakur or how to get on the inside or what to do. Right? So Shakur does that stuff though, man. And he's tough to fight for and tough to plan for. But this is not Shakur Stevenson. This is a different cat, right? Someone that Nakathila is going to have the opportunity to hit. But in his most recent fight, man, where he fought Miguel Berchelt, right? He looked great, right? He looked legit. He couldn't miss with 80% of the shots as he was putting forth. He dropped Miguel Berchelt with a jab, and that's when you kind of knew Miguel Berchelt wasn't the same one that we know of old. Berchelt didn't try to move. He didn't try to get out the way. He just stood right in the middle of the fire. And Nakathila was like, okay, perfect. That's what you're going to do? Cool. Make it easier for me. And that's not what you want against a guy like Jeremiah Nakathila, man. However, Nakathila got caught a few times. He's not hard to miss. His defense is okay. It's not great. It's okay. He's going to be there to get hit. But that night, man, Miguel Berchelt, Nakathila put it on him. Nakathila beat that man bad. Every shot, every time that Nakathila landed a shot, like it just looked like Berchelt was going to be knocked out, lights out every single time. The fact that he stood up to some of those shots and kept coming forward a little bit, I was a little impressed by the fact that he took that and still wanted more of that. Nonetheless, that was a great win on Jeremiah Nakathila's resume, man. He's tough as well too. He's never been knocked out before. He's never been stopped. And I don't think he gets the credit for his chin either, right? This also goes to show how good Shakur is. because Shakur made that fight look like easy work, right? It was one-sided, wasn't even close on the scorecards. But don't get it twisted, man. Nakathila is dangerous. Like, you can't take that man lightly. When you're a puncher, you always got a puncher's chance. And you can never take those guys lightly. So who wins? I'm looking forward to seeing how this one unfolds, because if it's anything like the opening card that we saw last week with Kenneth Sims Jr. and Batir Akhmadov, man, this is going to be a great follow-up. But I'm taking Muratalla to win this one by decision. I think if he can get the stoppage against Nakathila, it's going to be some type of body shot. As good as Nakathila is, to me, he's still a little one-dimensional to me, and he's kind of predictable with what he's trying to do. And if Muratalla is dialed in, he can use his feet and try and stay one step ahead of Nakathila, but he can't go in and be too hesitant, and he cannot be lackadaisical with his hands, with his defense. You got to keep him high and tight, because you cannot allow Nakathila room where he can land that right hand consistently, because if the right shot connects, as we know in boxing, anything can happen. All it takes is one shot for it to land. Remember what Gabe Rosario did to Bektemir. You know what I'm saying? So anything can happen. So I'm hoping Muratalla comes into the ring. He comes in nice and warm and ready to go. But I think this is a great fight for both men. But if Muratalla can get the job done, I think this puts him a few more fights away from a possible potential title shot down the road. And if Nakathila gets it done, it puts him back in the mix. But again, I have Muratalla to win this one by decision. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. We recently just started membership on the channel. I don't always get to do all of the suggested videos you guys share in the comments, but if you become a member, those suggested videos go to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you. Or if you'd like to become a member just to support the channel, man, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Shout out to all the members holding down the membership section. I appreciate each of you. Shout out to everybody that continues to watch, comment, like, subscribe, and share the channel. I truly appreciate you as well. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.